Hey, and welcome back to my channel. If you are thinking about moving to Cumming, Georgia, or maybe you're in the process right now of looking at homes, you want to listen to this full video. So why are people regretting moving to Cumming, Georgia? Although Cumming, Georgia is a wonderful place to be, I know this information because I have lived here in Cumming for over 15 years and I have sold real estate here. So you cannot Google this information. Well, the number one reason is the rapid growth. There was a point in time where you could move out to Cumming, Georgia. Again, remember Cumming is just 400 north. We have got a ton of growth, but over the last probably 6 years or so, we have had the majority of the growth. And there was a point in time where you could move here to Cumming, Georgia, and you could go to the North Forsyth County area, which was north, right? Going up probably exit 15, 16, and 17. And then you could go west, and it was very rural. There was not a lot of development out there. The lots were larger. There were farther few in between neighborhoods. And it was just a nice, peaceful commute getting back into town or getting to those interstates. That is no longer the case. If you're moving towards the west part of the county or north side, or even parts of the lake now, also known as East Forsyth High School area, those areas are becoming very, very congested. And if you're having to commute in for work, normal business hours, Monday through Friday, like 9 to 5-ish, you're gonna start those commutes very, very early. You're gonna start around 7 a.m. in order to miss traffic. Now, getting in from what I call the West Forsyth area, which is more like on the Cherokee-Forsyth County line, to get to the interstate is going to take you a good 30 minutes, depending on where you are and on where traffic is. So because of the rapid growth here, our infrastructure just cannot support all the cars that are on the road. So there's a lot of frustration with people when they have to travel 400 and they're going into Atlanta for work. And so if you're not from here and you're just looking at the mileage and you're like, well, I'm only 15 miles from work, from my doorstep of home to the doorstep of the office, well, that 15 miles will probably take you over an hour to get there. So people get really, really frustrated with our infrastructure and our roads. So if you're thinking about moving to Cumming, you want to have some patience, especially if you're commuting. Now, obviously during COVID, that 2020, 21, 22, that congestion was a lot less because people were still being able to work remotely and work from their homes. So a lot of people regret moving to Cumming because of that. So a lot of people also feel social isolation, and not because we don't have things around. We have so much that's available in Cumming, Georgia for you to do, right? Parks and different recreation events and restaurants and shopping. But because if you're living on one side of town and you're trying to get to the other side of town, it is a 30-minute commute. And depending on when traffic is happening, you may not want to leave your house. And so people do tend to feel some more social isolation unless they're in a community that's more of a walking distance to everything. We have several walking communities, Vickery being one of those, Vickery Village, which is located just off Post Road. We have shot video about this particular neighborhood before, but it's an eat, play, sleep community. You've got restaurants and shopping all in one. Now, if you leave outside of Vickery, you're definitely going to not be around a whole lot, right? Post Road is a busy road. There is a lot of construction there. There are neighborhoods, but you're not going to take your golf cart outside of Vickery and ride that around. You can do that in the city of Cumming. So if you're in the city limits of Cumming, you can take your golf cart and ride around, even though we are not quite developed as hopefully what we will be with more restaurants and shopping and stuff like that. But it is more of a walkable community. If you're trying to get into, to the courthouse or anything like that, you can take your golf cart there. But so anyway, a lot of people do feel social isolation. And a lot of times we see a lot of people living in Cumming and then commuting into Alpharetta or Roswell for their social life, especially if you're a young adult or a younger family. Maybe you're not married yet and you have moved here. A lot of times you're going to commute into Alpharetta or Roswell for your nightlife. And that is still about a 20-minute ride, and an Uber drive on a Friday night or a Saturday night can cost you $50. So it can get pretty expensive if you're Ubering back and forth. A lot of people don't realize when you move to Cumming, it's very expensive. Our housing, our average house price shot up over $100,000 over the last few years. So it is very expensive to live in Cumming. If you're looking for a brand new home, like let's say you're a first-time home buyer, you're probably not going to find anything under $400,000 that's worth living in an area that you want to be in. So it is very expensive to live here in Cumming. Our housing is expensive. Many of our communities do have HOA, and those HOA fees are going to cost anywhere from $700 to $1,200 a year, depending on the amenities in that community. All right, and one of the last things that people regret about living in Cumming is the redistricting of the schools. Guys, we have grown so much over the last several years, and we have brought in more schools, more elementary, middle, and high schools. And every time that happens, we redistrict the areas. So I have had several families move here to Cumming to be in a specific school district, and only to find out a year later that neighborhood has been rezoned for another school. So a lot of people get really frustrated about that. The good thing is all of our schools in Forsyth County are great. To be honest, my kids went through the public school system in the middle school and high school phase of their life, and we were very pleased with it. There's not, one of the schools is not better than the other, but people have in their minds that they want their child to be in a specific school. And if you are coming to Cumming thinking that, there is a really good chance that your neighborhood or house will be rezoned for another school district. So that is one thing that people really get disappointed in here in Cumming, Georgia. I hope you found that this information is helpful. If you want more detailed information about a certain specific neighborhood of Cumming, Georgia, feel free to reach out to me. Also, I'd love to know what your comments. Make sure you share and like this post. See you next time.